then later on found out that I had, in fact, melanoma in my head now.
Can I ask how long the operation went for? Because
Oh.
it sounds like it would have been pretty
Probably
complicated.
about 12 hours.
Really?
Just once at least in your life, a woman should be told how much they are appreciated.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, the Noongar Wadandi Mort. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.
Scratch the surface and everyone has a story. Welcome, Kaya, to the wisdom of women.
Today's guest is someone you can call a walking miracle. She was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given 1 year to live.
Wanda Marnie is a warrior woman who never gives up. And 9 years later, she's here with us today to talk about her story. Welcome to the WOW studio.
Thank you very much.
Wanda, you are absolutely amazing. I had to say it, but what a drama-filled life. You weren't put on this planet just to have an easy one, were you?
No, definitely not. It was quite a battle from the beginning of my life, but we won't go into that. But
We won't go into
No.
the early stages.
But 2011 was when I first noticed I had a freckle on my shoulder. I went to the GP and he said, yes, you've got a bit of skin damage, so he removed it. Then he rang me back a few days later and said it's actually melanoma. So I had to go to Perth specialist, and then he just went around the stitches and removed it completely and said he reckons that he has it all. So I went home feeling quite relieved.
I was going to say, so at that point in time then, you're just thinking, okay, I've got a little spot. And let's face it, a lot of people have the little spots removed. And you're thinking, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, a bit of skin damage.
Yeah, got away with that pretty easily, so I was pretty happy.
And then, though, things evolved.
So then nearly 5 years later, in 2015, I noticed a lump under my left armpit. And then I went fishing with my husband, noticed a bit of a tingling in my hand, and I thought, that's a bit sinister. I better go to the doctor and see what that's about. And
How big was the lump that you're talking
probably,
about? Pea size? Or?
yeah, probably about pea size, maybe 2 peas put together.
So you weren't even, you just came across it?
Yeah, just went like that. Just felt under my armpit. It wasn't sore.
Wow, okay.
And then I thought I'd better go and get it checked out. And then the doctor was looking at me like it was actually a bad thing. So then I thought, and then I had an ultrasound and of course, and it was real that it was melanoma. So then it had entered my body. So now I had melanoma inside my body. And they said I had to have a left node clearance, which means all the lymph nodes under my left armpit were removed,
Right.
which makes my lymph system not complete anymore because it's been broken from all the nodes being removed under my armpit. And it can make you get lymphedema, and that's where your arm gets really big because it can stop down the flow. But, yeah, I haven't had that problem yet, so hopefully I never will.
So was that the only option that you were given? You just
Yeah.
complete removal of the lymph glands there?
Yeah, and I went to a cancer breast specialist because they don't really have lymph node specialists, so that's where I went to a man who dealt with breast cancer.
I'm a little bit shocked here because
Yeah.
that just doesn't seem to make
And I
sense
went
to
in
me.
Bunbury to a person here who removed my left nodes, and then I was that was in February, and then I'm okay, and then in December, over on a holiday in New South Wales, my face became numb. I went to the hospital, a bit concerned about it. I felt a bit imbalanced too. And then later on found out after waiting a long time in the hospital that I had, in fact, melanoma in my head now, and that I had one big tumour in my pons and 2 smaller ones in my frontal lobe, and I had a year to live. The one in my pons was inoperable.
So can I just hold you up
Yeah.
here? Because the way that you're talking about, I mean, clearly you've lived with this for so many years, so you're just delivering this so matter of fact. But back to how your original response might have been, like, what was going through your mind here?
Well,
this is crazy.
The first time I went with my husband, and the doctor then said, no, you're okay, I think it's going to write itself, so I went home.
This was while you're in
This
holidays.
is in Newcastle while I'm on holidays.
Yeah.
Then a couple of days later, I've still got the problem. So I went back. My sister said, look, you're coming with me. We're going back to hospital.
Yeah.
And that's when they said, I'll put you in a bed. We'll get a scan. We'll do this. We'll do that. And that's when they found out, well, I actually smoked cigarettes then. When they told me the news, me and my sister went and had 2 cigarettes in a row, and then I gave up.
Oh, good.
Wow.
So
How do you? Yeah, I imagine this is very emotional for you, Wanda, even after all these years and everything that you've gone through. For families facing all that, I imagine that it's how difficult telling your family, but then it must be so good to have supportive family around you, like your husband,
Yeah.
your sister. They really pulled together
yes,
for
I
you.
did. My sister actually flew. Well, my mother paid for her and her 3 children to fly over to Bunbury because they live in Newcastle in New South
Yeah.
Wales. So they came. It was the Christmas holidays, so they were able to come. My brother flew over to New South Wales to see me, but there's really nobody can do anything. You're on your own. Doesn't matter. You can be supported, but this is a journey for you.
Yeah, it's in your body, and you're trying to do what you can do.
So
So what do? You're given this prognosis of 12 months. Do you suddenly, is it going through your mind? What can I do? There must be something. What's
well,
happening?
no, just complete panic to begin with. My youngest child, I've got 3 daughters, and my youngest one was 13, and the oldest one was, second one was 15, the oldest one was 19. So they still hadn't had grandchildren or got married or anything. And, it wasn't what I envisioned for me.
Had the kids been, your girls been a part of the journey leading
Yeah.
up to that diagnosis, of that
Yeah.
terminal diagnosis? Like, how do you deliver that kind of news to the girls? Were they with you on holidays?
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I told them exactly what was going on until we got back to Bunbury.
Yeah.
And how long I had, I just told them I was sick.
Yeah.
But I am close to them. I would think Taylor would have known, the oldest one who's 19, would have told her, but, the 13-year-old couldn't tell her. But did tell her when I went to hospital, I had to tell them,
What was going on?
So,
So your brain's just in this crazy frenzy space.
and then I had people accessing, like, my house and what I can do. They're like, can you do your buttons up? Can you go to the toilet? Can you do this? I can do all those things. What do you mean? You're silly. Why you're saying that to me is crazy, But I did get to a point where I couldn't go to the toilet. I couldn't do my buttons up, and couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything, couldn't eat. So
What treatment were you initially getting after that
So
diagnosis?
when I first got diagnosed, they said straight away to have dexamethasone because that contains the tumour in your head won't grow as quickly.
Okay.
So just have these, but you have to have them early because they make you stay awake. So you have to have them early in the day. Then they said to have radiation. So I went to the melanoma clinic in Newcastle and had radiation 5 times on my head. And they actually have a thing fitted to your head, like a cage around your head.
Yep.
And you could lay there for 5 times and have that. Then I got in an aeroplane and came back and seen a doctor in Perth. But they had already found out before that I'd seen the doctor in Perth that I'm BRAF negative, which means that I could not have chemotherapy because my body would react to it. So I really thought, I'm doomed.
I never understood or knew that some people
I never
cannot
knew.
take chemo.
No, never knew it existed until they told me that. So I thought I was doomed for sure. But just before I got sick, 2 months maybe max before I got sick, immunotherapy was on the BPS list.
Yep.
I think Tony Abbott put it on there.
Okay.
One
There's something
good
good
thing he
Tony Abbott
did.
did. Yeah.
Best thing he did. And I have been on immunotherapy and it got rid of 2 tumours in my brain. So what immunotherapy does is allows the T cells in your body to fight the cancer and your own immune system fights the cancer. Whereas chemotherapy, everything is killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So it was actually better to be on immunotherapy, and I think that's the new drug now that they're probably pushing more for cancer than chemotherapy.
So was it considered that you were someone who was incredibly responsive to immunotherapy? Does everyone respond like you, or were you just really lucky?
I'm just really lucky, I think. And my sister done a lot of research. It's like when she heard it all that I had melanoma way back at the beginning.
Yeah.
And she found out about immunotherapy, and a politician from Australia went to America and got treated, and he had numerous cancers all over his body, and he had a scan to show they were there and then a scan to show they were gone. So she believed truly in immunotherapy. but it wasn't past you yet. And I think I just believed with her. And I think your mind's very, very.
We all know
Yeah.
that the mind is an
What
incredibly
you
powerful
believe.
tool, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
And I believe that I needed my 4th treatment, and I was very sick. I believe that you need 4 treatments of immunotherapy before your body starts responding, and I could only get 3 because I was just so sick, and the doctor reckoned that it would kill me to have another treatment. So he said I couldn't have one, and he said, but if you come back to me in a week's time and you're better than you are right now, I'll let you have your 4th treatment. So miraculously, I did get a bit better. I did exercise with my mother, which is crazy, half my body, because I had a stroke-like episode when I was in hospital because they gave me blood thinners and it made my tumour in my head bleed. And I had a stroke-like
Crikey.
episode, okay? So this side of my body wasn't working. So I was doing these exercises, just trying to get it to work, just trying to lift my arm up in the air, just trying to lift my leg 2 inches off the...
It's really interesting you say that because I have heard in more recent times the talk about how exercising the body for patients can actually be
Good.
incredibly helpful.
So, I mean, I was meant to die. I'm in palliative care, but I'm doing exercises to get better. Crazy.
You are a warrior.
And I was in a big floating chair when I went and seen my oncologist, and we got a smaller wheelchair, so I didn't look quite as helpless. And I didn't wear pajamas to my appointment. I wore clothing.
Okay.
So
you were
he's-
making sure that you
Yeah.
looked good enough,
Yeah.
capable enough to
Yeah.
take this last treatment.
And he said, you can have it, but this was a Wednesday, and I couldn't have it till the Friday because all treatments had finished, so I had to live another 2 days before I was allowed to have the treatment. In the meantime, I got to go home. I was peg fed. David had converted my room or our bedroom and ensuite into a hospital room, so I had a hospital bed. He took the hob out from the ensuite so I could wheel the wheelchair under the shower or have a shower. So he had a hoist and sling so he could transport me around the house because I couldn't walk, and a big chair. And he later on installed a big bar, a wood bar in our lounge room, and I used to walk sideways up and down that, just practicing trying to walk again. So,
You were unstoppable.
yeah.
At what point is this then from when you received that terminal diagnosis? You've got 12 months. Was this 6 months down the track, 8 months? What point was it that you were sort of into all the immunotherapy sessions and treatment? Do you
Okay,
remember as a
so-
rough guideline?
So I did have immunotherapy in 2015, and then I had my operation, which I did later on have, which I haven't even spoken to you. I've had an
No.
operation.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But after I had my operation, I actually had to go back on Keytruda for a little while because I actually found there was always a dark blemish. I was getting scans every 3 months with my oncologist. Now I moved to 6 months, which was great. But there was always this dark mark on my left buttock, and he'd say, do you have any, I've got this mark or this image. I don't know. I don't think it's anything. Do you feel anything? And I said, no, I don't feel anything. But I went to this local doctor, and just a walk-in doctor, and I said, I ended up getting a lump on my bottom, and I said, I've got this lump on my bottom. You know what it is? And she said, oh, and she got out a computer, and she said, oh, it's just a cyst, I think, look at this picture and whatever. And I said, well, knowing the past history, I would like it analysed, please. And it came back, and oh my goodness, she rang me up and said it's melanoma.
Wow.
So I went to another skin specialist doctor here, and he removed it,
Yeah.
big lump out of that, and I went back on immunotherapy for 30 times. And then which is every 3 weeks you get them.
Yeah.
And then I got to bring the bell and leaf, which not many people get to bring the bell and leaf.
Oh, what a feeling that must have been, and how
Yeah.
good for all the staff around you
And
too.
all the people having treatment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lift
Yeah.
of the spirit, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
Wow.
done.
Goodness.
So after finding out that going to hospital, getting injected, having a stroke-like episode, then I got rushed to Fiona Stanley, and my mother and my husband and my girls and everyone were following me, and I was stuck in a big ambulance, ran for about 2 hours after I finally got there. Then I got to see them about 6 hours later, and then I was in a room, and I'll tell you, the person, they were trying to put me in a room that smelt terrible. Someone must have just passed away in it, I think, or something had happened. And I said, I'm not going in that room. So they cleaned that room out. I went up to another room anyway, but I ended up having to get myself out of the hospital. I had to lay in the back of my husband's car and get transported to Bunbury because I was there for 2 weeks and nothing was happening. I was just getting sicker. And
You knew you had to remove
I just
yourself.
had to get out. And I said to the young doctor, I'm going, because even I wasn't seeing my oncologist. I wasn't seeing anybody. I'm only seeing young student doctors, so I had to take my health into my own hands. And I tried a lot of alternate things, like as soon as I found out I was diagnosed with cancer, I went to the Wellbeing Centre in Newcastle, and they told me to stop drinking fluoridated water because fluoride cancels all the goodness in other foods. It's right at the top of the metabolic chart, and all the good nutrients that you're trying to absorb aren't being absorbed because you're killing it off with the fluoride. Yeah. So
Something.
Charlie Teo actually told me to drink the water I drink. It's unique and it's unfluoridated water.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why I drink it.
Yeah.
But so I don't drink unfluoridated water. They put me on Puree, which is just you can buy at Woolworths. Right. So I was drinking that. Don't eat red meat. Don't eat chicken. Only eat wild caught seafood, mainly fish. Fruit and veggies. Don't eat sugar. Sugar feeds cancer. Don't eat sugar. You try to have an alkaline body, not an acidic, because so I got litmus paper tests and tests if my pH levels.
Yeah.
Because cancer will not grow in an alkaline body, but it will grow in an acidic body.
So you've really approached your battle with cancer on multiple
Yeah,
levels.
yeah.
From diet to your boosting your immune system.
Yeah. Meditation, great. And there was a time where I had locked-in syndrome where you can't talk, so you can't communicate. So I wrote a few things on my whiteboard they had, but even my writing was bad, now looking back at it. But I created when I was 19, because I went to a life force course when I was 19, and I created a room in my head where I can go and be and live, meditate, and you can have whatever you want. You can have a gold door, diamond door, you can have gold curtains, you can have a gold floor, you can have whatever in whatever you build.
That is your space.
Yeah, and you have a big medicine chest in there, and you can have rubbers, you can have whatever. It's not conventional, so you can rub the cancer out with your rubber.
Yeah.
You can go into your other room, and it's a big stage, and you can see the doctor giving you good news, and you sitting on the other side of the table, and you're watching it.
So you're clearly a firm believer as well in this holistic approach of every weapon that you can bring out.
Yeah, that's what I did, and then I eventually got a bit better. I mean, I got from a wheelchair, and a beautiful physiotherapist got me walking again, but I was in my wheelchair for a while. I got taught how to move from a wheelchair onto a bed using a piece of wood, and I couldn't walk at all. I had to stand holding a bar like that, like a little baby.
Wow.
And learn how to walk again. So then I got to that point and I thought, well, I've got to get rid of this tumour in my Pons region because I'm not feeling very good. And I rang David and I said, I'm not feeling very good. And Mum had heard about Charlie Teo because her best friend's daughter had also had a problem and she knew about Charlie Teo.
Yeah.
So we made an appointment with him. I told David and he made an appointment with him and I could see him within 2 weeks.
I was just going to ask, was it difficult to get to that doctor?
No.
Because, I mean, he was certainly in the limelight for a number of years, and it wasn't all good conversations in the scientific
Should have been,
so-called medical, area about his work and what he was doing. So within 2 weeks, you're in to see Dr. Teo.
Yes, and there was a young boy there who had a similar problem to me. He had a tumour in his Pons region, but he'd had his removed. And he was running around everywhere with another kid, but he was only 13, 14. He was a bit younger than me, so he might bounce back, but it gave me hope.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people, and I probably waited 3 hours after my appointment time, as you do.
Yeah.
But Charlie Teo wears a T-shirt and jeans. He is the most humble doctor. He's very, very wise and educated. And doesn't pull any punches, tells you how it is. And gave me hope. He said he can remove my tumour, but he said there's a good chance you're going to be all right, but you probably are going to have some things wrong with you. But I'm not 100%. You know, like 100%, you could not make the operation, or you could be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life.
All
you
right,
know.
there's a big scope there as to
Yeah.
what the outcome could be.
Yeah.
But he was totally open and honest about all that to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Did you hesitate? Did you
No.
think maybe this isn't for me?
No, the only option's dying to me.
Yeah,
So I didn't have to, you know.
think about it.
My oncologist said before I left, don't go to him. He's a cowboy. You're crazy. And I just did it. Came back. He said, if I was ever in your predicament, I'd do exactly what you have done.
How
So-
interesting.
So,
So how long between seeing Dr. Teo and the actual operation itself?
so Dr. Teo wanted to do, so I think this was the beginning of December or maybe halfway through December, and he wanted to do it the next day because he said every
Wow.
day is making it worse and bigger and pressing on more things. And,
Yeah.
you know, so I want to do it ASAP. But I said to him, well, I need to see my girls before I have the operation. So I flew back to Western Australia and we all flew back, and I had the operation on the 29th of December 2016.
Wow.
And I was out of hospital, well, about 48 hours later. I was in intensive care. I woke up in intensive care. I was not even 48 hours.
Can I ask how long the operation went for? Because it
Oh.
sounds like it would have been pretty complicated.
Probably about 12 hours.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's hard
But-
to imagine.
I don't like hospitals, so I was
Yeah, we gathered that,
determined to
Wanda.
get
We
out.
gathered that they're not your most favourite
Yeah.
room to go to.
So,
Sneaking off in the back of the car.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good clue.
yeah.
So 48 hours later, you're saying, yeah, I'm
I'm out of here. And they said, well, if you can walk around your bed into the toilet using a walker, you can go. And I dragged my feet behind me and did that, and I was allowed to go.
So where was that? Where did that
So
operation
that's
happen?
Princess Margaret Hospital, Sydney.
In Sydney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you stay in Sydney for a while?
I had to stay in Newcastle for 2 weeks before I got on the plane, and my husband's mother lives in Newcastle,
Yep.
so that's where we stayed.
And so what happens after that kind of operation? Is it a period of time and then you go back for more scans to know if it's successful? Or did Dr. Teo come out of the operation and say to you, I got it?
I never seen Dr. Teo again. So Dr. Teo has 2 helpers, and he has people from other parts of the country that he seems to educate, probably other neurosurgeons, I would guess. And one of them came into me and said, we got 100%. Dr. Charlie wants you to know. I went, yay, great.
Oh,
So first time I got no cancer. Wow. Yay.
oh, that must have been
But-
a very emotional moment to
Yes.
have heard that.
And then I had to come back to Bunbury, and I could walk, but I had to use a walker. I had to go back to my physiotherapist and borrow a few more things from her because it makes you go backwards having,
Okay. Yep.
yeah, so I had to learn to walk a bit again. I could still go to the toilet, but yeah, I've had to learn a lot of things. Like I had a nappy on when I came home. I had a
Yeah.
peg. Like the oncologist would say, right, this week, next time I see you, I want to see your catheter out. And I think, okay.
So it
It's a
was
bit
all
daunting.
steps. It was
Yeah.
all places
Oh,
you had to
yeah.
meet to...
Yeah, so I got the catheter out when I was at physiotherapy, I think, so that was all right, and I got through that because, when your urine's just going in a bag for the last 3 weeks, you're wondering what is going to happen when they remove the catheter.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
do.
Is your body
Just-
going to cope back with this whole
you
new
start
system?
thinking what's going to happen. Then another time I went, he said, right, because I started, my swallow improved, okay? So originally I couldn't swallow anything. It was nil by mouth because I worried I might choke. So I was peg fed. So I had an operation. They put a tube into my stomach and they just fed me directly that way.
Yep.
Then when I went back home, I had another retest to test my swallow at the hospital. And lo and behold, I could swallow yogurt and swallow water.
Okay.
So I was given the okay to eat soft things. So I went home and ate jelly and ice cream and custard so much. So much.
Sugar-free, of course.
No,
Yeah.
no.
By that stage,
forgot
it was,
all about that. Food colouring,
yeah, you'll
sugar,
give yourself
everything.
good stuff. Yeah, okay. I think
No.
you deserve a bit of a treat.
It was
though,
just like
Wanda.
I'd never eaten before, But yeah, so I knew I couldn't keep doing that, or I would be forcing, having to have other problems like weight issues and things.
Yeah. Okay. So a slow progression
Yeah, of slow progression, and then I had the peg removed, and I had the doctor oncologist would say, I want the peg removed because now you can eat. So I went to the doctor that actually put it in, but he was at hospital, but this time he's had his surgery. And I go in and I go in my husband and daughter, and I think he's just going to have a look as he goes, get up on the bed and just going to have a look. Well, then all of a sudden he just pulled the tube out of my stomach. My stomach went up like a volcano and a bit of whatever's in my stomach went up.
Oh, my God.
I know. I was taken aback. I went, okay, thank you. Off we go.
There's no 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
That's shocking.
Well, no, not really.
was
I've just
just
had
the
that
shock.
many needles, and I'm a bit immune to hurt, I think. I was in shock. I was just in shock by that. And so since then, I did one by one, removed all the things and removed the nappy, got to walk. Medication, came out of hospital with a full scat page of medication. Got off them one by one. Not easy. Your body becomes used to the medication. And my emotions were crazy. I was crying. I was put on antidepressants because I think it's normal to be depressed when you're told you're going to die, but I was put on them, and it was very hard to get off them, and I was eating in the middle of the night. So, you I don't know if it masks one problem, crowds another, because it makes you put on weight. You just want to eat.
Yeah.
And then I had another one because I had mild seizures when I was young, so they put me on Kelma, I think it's called, and it's bad, Keppra, I think it's called. It's bad for your eyesight. So when I went outside, I couldn't see. Another one, Kelma, made your hair fall out, so I got very thin hair. Wow. So that's why I started looking at all these side effects and realising I'm not having chemotherapy. My hair's not coming out because of that. So, yeah. So I got off them all. So that was good.
It's just incredible. So here we are today.
Here we are today. And back in 2017, I think I did half the Melanoma March, which is 5 kilometres with my family, 2.5.
So this is through the Melanoma Association of WA, or is it Australia-wide national
I think it's
organisation?
Australia-wide, actually, because my sister did it over in New South Wales for me when I was in palliative care. And then I got out of palliative care and did half the track. And
That's
then,
a mighty effort, Wanda.
yeah, 2.5. And then the following year, which was, maybe the following, it was 2017, 18. I sung and spoke at the Melanoma March and sung an original and walked the whole 5 kilometres.
You are amazing.
It's amazing.
Clearly, there's a lot that's gone on with you with as far as your mental strength, I'm going to call it, I suppose, to get through it all. And clearly, music plays a big part of your life. Did you talk to yourself mentally every day and go, okay, we got this, let's just, or did you find that it was just something that naturally happened?
I did everything. I have looked in the mirror and said, you've got this, like you say, you're getting better. I have affirmations everywhere. You are getting healthier every day in every way. I prayed,
Found God at times when,
you do
if it was gonna
whatever. And, you just do whatever you can do, I think, and whatever you think might help you. And when you're told, your mind's told you're not going to live, you start thinking like that. So you have to, in a way, take control of your mind, which is probably hard to say, but
because otherwise it would be just...
it can be a negative Nancy if you will let it be, You can't let it say... Just because one person told you you're going to die doesn't mean you're going to die, Even if 100 people tell you you're going to die,
you're standing proof, Wanda.
Yeah.
The power of the mind. It's interesting too when you do talk about that mental aspect, because your brain actually can't differentiate really between what is physically happening to your body as a thought or actually what is happening to your body, can it? So it is all, when you talk about that within your mind taking control. I don't know how you did that.
I was reading Deepak Chopra, and it was I, me. There's more than one of us. He was explaining. He's saying, like, you there's your brain and there's your body and there's your soul, I say your soul probably governs your body and your brain, and you need to take control of it and say, look, you can't keep thinking that way. That's not going to help you,
No.
you know?
No.
Got to think positively.
Yeah, and you've got a family around
Yeah.
you. You've got three girls, and who are your world. But also, I suppose your behaviour and what you're doing also shows them the incredible achievements that can be made.
Definitely, definitely. Like I said, I'd not been there for any grandchildren or any weddings. Well, we haven't had any weddings yet, but we have had 2 grandchildren.
Oh, well done, girls.
And the first girl was actually due on my birthday, first grandchild. And she came 2 days before. Yeah, so that was like a miracle too,
That's
wasn't it?
beautiful. Oh, I love hearing all that.
Yeah.
And gee, what a good bloke your husband is, Wanda.
He's a wonderful bloke and he's still hanging around. So
You haven't scared him off?
No, we've been through a lot together. But yeah, we're very good friends. So I think that sort of helps. And we got through this, so probably just about do anything. Yeah.
Oh, I reckon you might be spot on with that. Yeah, goodness me. Yeah, no stopping it.
Yeah.
So, clearly the Melanoma Association was a helpful organisation. You've been a part of that or sought there sort of right from the start?
Unfortunately, well, I got, once I became affected by melanoma, I became aware of what, you're not sort of aware, like BRAF negative. I didn't even know there was such a thing until I went on my journey. But they don't seem to be doing as much now with the melanoma march. So I have just unfortunately not been involved with that in the last couple of years. It did get, the year I performed it was a lot smaller. I think someone else was running it. Something happened. They used to give us a free skin check, and then they didn't have one there that year.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just not sure whether it's getting smaller.
How did you find the whole support around melanoma? I mean, over the years, we've had the TV commercials, we've had the, whole thing with the banning of sunbeds and bits and pieces. What's your thoughts on all that, the support and awareness?
Well, I see a skate park that was just built with a no sun protection.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting.
I don't think there's much awareness at all because that's basic to me. You've got people in the sun right next to a beach. Why wouldn't you put a shade sail on it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we are aware, I guess, as human beings. I mean, I just don't know. We still do stupid things like that, and
Well, I remember back in the days when, I was growing up on the farm with my 2 sisters, and that was in the stage where they would lather themselves in like oil, reef oil or something. Or my redheaded sister, I remember my mum would calling out saying, you're going to burn. And she'd be like, well, I've got to burn so I can get a tan. In that era, I just remember sunscreen, and I know my mum talks about it as well. She said they never knew about it.
yeah, it's crazy. My mum was the same. She lay back with I think vinegar and baby oil mixed together.
Oh, there you go.
Even before the reef oil
Before the
came
reef
out.
oil.
It's like a chip, So,
Yeah. What's your routine now as far as before you head out in the day? Is it the SPF 50 plus hat? Cover your arms, legs? Like, what do you do?
Probably not enough. I don't go in the sun much at all. When I do, I definitely wear a hat and sunscreen. But yeah, in the hot times, I don't go out. I do a bit of gardening, but I have my journey's forever because I do have nystagmus, which is a quivering vision, so I can't drive, and I do have mobility and balance issues. So if I bend over, I could quite easily fall over and things like that. So I have to be a little careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't go out in the sun that much nowadays.
Yeah,
When I
wow.
do, I protect it.
Early detection.
Yeah, it's a
We
good thing.
move on from protection or prevention, but clearly early detection. So checking skin a lot.
Yes. I've got a situation with the skin cancer clinic that I can basically get in within 2 weeks. I mean, a normal layperson is probably about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, right.
So he's very, they're very sympathetic to me and
Yeah.
my needs, so that's good. And so regular 3 monthly skin checks.
It is an aggressive cancer in
Yeah.
itself once it gets within the system.
Yes, particularly aggressive. I mean, it certainly altered my life. Certainly changed my life. You know, I think I've heard of many people having being a lot less lucky than I have. You know,
Because it's not, people think melanoma, skin, surface,
Mm.
unaware
nah.
though of just how it can penetrate through the entire body.
It's also like small on the surface and can be a lot bigger underneath for melanoma. So you might just have a freckle on top, but underneath it could be quite much bigger.
Yeah, okay.
So don't go in the sun without all that protection.
And be aware of your skin. Notice any changes
Yeah.
and blemishes or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Keep on top of it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because we are with the hottest country in the planet and
Getting
the
hotter, Wanda.
second hottest state in the country.
Yeah.
So
And that whole Aussie lifestyle has always been very much about, outdoorsy
American.
and, isn't it? Hasn't it been?
bathers and beach and
Yeah. Leather skin.
that's
Slip,
it.
slop, flap. That's what you got to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slip, slop, slap. That was a great cartoon commercial that used to run
they need that
back in
again.
the day. They do,
That was
don't
in
they?
the 80s. I don't know.
Yeah. So, apart from your amazing warrior woman spirit in, This Will Not Take Me, I know that music has played quite a part in your life as well.
Yes. Well, I used to be a lead singer in a rock and roll band, and I've written over 30 original songs. I have a passion for singing and writing.
Tell us about the old days back in the band.
Oh, back in the band. Oh, a lot of practicing, not much sleep. Trying to juggle children and being a singer wasn't easy.
But it was a passion.
But it was something that I just had to do. So wouldn't give it up for anything. Had some great times. Had some times where I thought also, like on the long trip, I don't want to be in this car anymore.
So you travelled around quite a bit of the state.
Yeah,
With
in
it
the
all?
southwest,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we never got famous or anything, but we did a little bit of this and a little bit of that, made ourselves happy.
It's not, I was just going to say, it's not about that, I
Yeah.
suppose, though, isn't it? It's
No.
about actually just doing
fulfilling.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So did you find, were you writing songs clearly as you were going through, your whole melanoma journey?
No.
Was it
No.
after?
No, I wrote them all before my melanoma journey. And then all of a sudden, when you've only got a year to live, everyone wants to sort of hear you sing all of a sudden, and you can't really sing anymore because you're too scared and sad. But I started realising that a lot of my songs were about me and about my life, and when I started singing them, I started thinking, wow, they related to me, So they probably tell a little story, each one about a little bit about me, in a way.
What a beautiful way, though.
Yeah.
What a beautiful way. Are you going to play something for us now, Wanda?
No.
Go on.
No way. No.
Can
no.
you? Were you going to play a little bit
Oh,
of a song?
this
though?
song I can play.
Come
that.
on. We'll listen to this little bit. This is Wanda's Wanda's song. What is it called?
This is called "Let Me Out." I actually wrote this before I went to hospital, but it actually relates to that quite well.
She sat in that room for so long. She just had to get out. She looked through that but she can't get it out. Now those voices are not her friends, and the confusion in her mind, well, it never ends. There's a light, but it's deep down inside, and it's so damn hard for her to find. She's screaming, let me out, let me out, let me out. She's crying, let me out, let me out. But no one can hear her, no one can hear her, no one can hear her. She sat in that room for so long, she just had to get out. She looked through that window, now it was wrong, and time was running out. The voices just won't go away. The hopeless paranoia is here to stay. She can't see the answers with her eyes open wide. There's only one ticket for this ride. She's screaming, let me out, let me out, let me out. She's crying, let me out, let me out. But no one can hear her, no one can hear her, no one can hear her, no one can hear her. And she's crying, let me out.
And you wrote that before? Before you knew you had... Wow.
That was actually about someone in a mental institution, but it related to me.
Absolutely it does.
Wow, Wanda. So you have 30 songs all up, did you say?
At least.
So what are your plans for all this? When are we getting the album, Wanda?
Well, I've got an idea for a book, and perhaps I will divulge some music in that book
Yeah, okay.
at the back of it or something. Something new that hasn't
Yeah.
been done before. Maybe if it ever happens.
It was a beautiful
Yeah?
song.
I could listen to that forever.
Yeah. That needs to be out there, Wanda. Well, we're very interested to see how all that flows out. And as you say, a book. That'll be a page turner. Won't be able to put that one down.
Oh, I know. Well, I don't think you can, to be honest. I do think I just got to start. I mean, I've actually, because I do have eye issues, it's not easy for me to write it. And then I started getting my daughter to print it out on the laptop, and then I've lost the laptop.
Oh,
Another page.
So lucky I've got the book again. I can still keep going.
Oh, Wanda.
But yeah.
What do you look to in the future when you think? Because that's pretty exciting. You've got stuff that you need to get done.
I know, but I'm very creative but an unorganised creative person.
it's
You know?
creatives.
We
So
relate.
yeah, so I've got my story written in a couple of books in terrible. Like I began writing it when I was first ill, and my writing isn't very good, but I wrote it anyway, and I can understand it, but I have to. Yeah, so it's not very well. It needs to do a lot more. And so David, my husband's selling his business. And he said, once that's over, then we're going to follow your dream. And we're going to go in the caravan, and he will be able to type it up for me.
Oh, can I just do a shout out to him? What a beautiful man.
Beautiful. You're right.
Beautiful people, Wanda.
Thank you.
I really look forward to hearing one day that this book comes out.
Yeah.
We'll have you back for a chat.
Yeah, that sounds good. That might give me encouragement to get more organised.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Start cracking the whip.
Yeah.
One, did you have a quote for
So
us?
my quote is to never give up, because if I did, I wouldn't be here talking to you now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So just never
That's
give up.
amazing.
And what's something that you think maybe every woman should hear at least once in their life?
So I think just once at least in your life, a woman should be told how much they are appreciated. Okay?
Yeah, definitely wise
Yeah.
words with that one.
That's
Love
nice.
it. Wanda, it just has been an absolute pleasure. We're so privileged to have you here talking to us today. So thank you for being so generous in really opening up and talking about your incredible journey. I've certainly learnt a lot.
If you have been affected by any of the topics discussed in this conversation, we will leave links below for you to check out and links for more information and to subscribe.
And always remember,
Every day,
You are remarkable.